Hello Internet, how's it going? Andre here from Double Down Guitar, and today let's talk about gear. Alright, and little disclaimer before we get started. First of all, this is not a gear comparison video where, I plug in my guitar into something, play some lines and chords, and then plug into something else so that you can hear the different sounds. There's plenty of videos like that. I might even link one in the description or something like that. I'm not going to be doing that. I want to talk about the gear that I use and have used in the past. I will demonstrate what I'm currently using at the end, but I'm not going to be going and testing every single piece of equipment I have. Second is that this is for the loud bar type of gig, right? If you're anything like me, you have different types of gigs that are not, they can vary wildly one from another as far as like where you're playing, if they have, if the venue has like good gear, good equipment or not, sound engineer or no sound engineer, do they have a PA or do they not have a PA, how, like the acoustics of the place, there's many like factors, right? What I'm talking about is the scenarios I want to point out here, they mainly have to do with the loud bar. People are there. Some people are there to see you. Some people are there to have a beer, right? There's like background noise, all that stuff happening, and you need to make these things sound good. And when I say good, I mean decent, because as anyone will tell you, it's always a compromise when you're trying to amplify these instruments, or any acoustic instrument for that matter. But I think I found a really cool solution, and I'm excited to talk about that. And this is going to be very informal, by the way, as if any of my other videos are like formal. But when we started playing, the idea was, let's just use microphones, because that's the closest thing to just being 100% acoustic, right? And we tried, the SM57, and that worked fine. We didn't have a PA of our own back then. It works okay. I would definitely recommend, instead of a dynamic mic, maybe a condenser mic. You just have to make sure that if you're bringing a PA, that it has, phantom power. But this is just not powerful enough. I felt in a few situations they needed us to be louder, and we couldn't push it any further with these things. So this thing stopped working really soon for us. The second thing I got was you've probably seen a bunch of these, the Audio-Technica Pro 70. Now this is like a lavalier microphone. It doesn't need phantom power because it has a preamp, and you need to use like a battery. You put a battery inside the little box, and you can put it here on the sound hole. I've heard that there is a 3D, another type of mount that you can 3D print that would go here next to the bridge, and it makes these way more feedback resistant, because it's not like next to the sound hole, it's over here. I have used this for a while, and mine still works really well. But I have heard of this not being super consistent. Sometimes they break, and it's good for what it is. It's better, I would say, than the SM57 solution. Maybe if you get a condenser mic and compared to this one, is going to be pretty like on par. You can try it. I've done it. I don't use it anymore, but it can work to a certain degree. You can be extremely loud with this, as it's a microphone. Which leads me into the solution that probably, for the money, cost-wise, and how well it's going to work as far as volume, it's the Pêche à la Mouche, or you can get any type of magnetic pickup that you can just kind of stick on the guitar, plug into your amp, and all your problems disappear. It sounds pretty good. There's no feedback. The only thing is that it sounds like a magnetic pickup, right? It sounds a little bit acoustic, but it's still, but not 100% acoustic. It's a magnetic pickup. My opinion is, if you're gonna go with something like this, you might as well just use like an amplifier, like an amp. And I know that some people use the AER with the Audio Technica. I don't have an AER. I have the Henriksen amp. I think this is the blue. And if I'm gonna go this route, I might as well plug into that and just have a good sort of like semi-acoustic arch top sound. So, and this thing is like pretty, consistent. It sounds good. And if you're not, looking to spend a lot of money, I think this is a really solid choice. Now, let's talk about what I'm using today. So, first off is I'm using the CS sensor. It's this thing right here. And it comes with a little, this little sticker, and you can attach it to your guitar. You actually need to find the right spot for your guitar. So you actually have this, plugged in, and what you do is you kind of move it around until you find a spot that sounds good. I actually went in, when I found the spot for this guitar, instead of just looking for the spot that sounded the best, I actually had my amp turned up so that if there was going to be feedback, I was going to find the spot that had the most feedback, and then try to find, a sweet spot that not only sounds good, but it has no feedback. So that's, I found that spot, and then I put it over here. And you get a pretty good sound. Sounds obviously more acoustic than this. There is a little bit of, you are prone to feedback at really high volumes. But I think it sounds really like, it's sort of like a price that I was okay paying, sort of like that fight with feedback, because this thing sounded very good. And I could go louder than the Audio Technica, and probably way louder than the microphone. And then I heard about this thing called a Tone Dexter. Video is not sponsored by Tone Dexter, by the way. I wish, because these things are not super cheap. I was able to get one used, which is the reason why I have one today. But they are super, super cool. The reason why it's freaking out right now is because it's on the tuner. But I'm going to try and show you different things about it. So what I'm using, long story short, what I'm using today is a combination of the CS sensor and the Tone Dexter together. And I've seen people use the CS sensor. There's obviously a lot of people that use it. I've seen people talk about the Tone Dexter. I have not seen people do the two together. And I think I get a really cool sound with it. And I'm going to demonstrate it in just a second. So let's quickly talk about it. This first knob over here is the sound of is how loud it's picking up from the pickup. This is output. This is how loud it's sending the signal. You have controls for like a notch, filter. You have, bass, treble, all that stuff. You're able to save different banks with different sounds. So the way that this thing works is you plug into it. You're gonna have two inputs. You're gonna plug in the guitar, and at the same time you're gonna plug in a microphone, and it's gonna learn how the microphone that you plugged in is different from the pickup. So then once you remove the microphone and you just use the pickup, it's going to try to emulate that sound, right? So this, and you can save it in different banks. I believe that's this guy right here, the wave maps. I think you have up to 12. Don't quote me on that. It's something like that. And then this is the really interesting button for me, the character, right? So what character does is that you can choose how much of that sort of microphone emulated sound is your output, right? Is your outputting. So it can be a blend of like 50-50. Maybe I want 50% the sound of my CS sensor and 50% the sound of the microphone. And with that, and you kind of find a sweet spot between the two, I think it sounds super convincing, and It's what I've been using lately, and I'm super happy with it. I don't bring an amp. We have our own PA that I really like. We have an EV Evolve 30, which is one of those like tower type of systems. It's really simple to kind of put together, and you know, it's not super heavy. So I don't bring an amp. I bring the PA, you know, my guitar, and this thing, and that's, you know, that's about it. So let me, oh, there's also, you know, there's a tuner. The tuner is nothing to write home about. I still use one of those like headstock tuners. This thing is not, it's, let me show you what that looks like. It's kind of, you gotta go by that little, the thing that's spinning. Yeah, so, you know, long story short, I get confused with that. So I use one of the headstock ones. And then there's a boost in case you need just a little bit more volume. Maybe you're playing a solo or something and you're still, I don't know, you wish you were a little louder, you can push that. I usually just kind of like set it up where I want it, and then I just, you know, leave it. And then the mute, the tuner is really, I use it for muting. So like if when we take a break, I mute, and that's it. So pretty cool little pedal. There is a new version. This is the first version. The new version is a little more expensive. If you can find the original one, I recommend it because I think it's pretty good. So I want to play a couple things. I'm going to turn the microphone off, and then I'm going to play different things with this guy. And I'm going to start with the character, so I'm going to start with the sound of just the CS sensor. Then I'll go up slowly, adding more and more of that emulated sound coming from the tone dexter. So see you in a bit. I gotta switch things around. As I was editing this video, I noticed that my explanation for this part was not super clear, so this is me redoing that explanation. You're gonna understand why in just a second. So in the previous clip, when I was using the different modes, I want to go over what these modes do. So CH0 is what Tone Dexter calls a more focused sound. It's the learned microphone sound, and it kind of does a couple things to the sound profile. I think it rolls off a little bit of the lows and it bumps up the mid-range. I'm not entirely sure what it does, but that's what they call the more focused sound. CH2 is the original learned sound from the microphone. And CH1 is a blend between CH0, the more focused sound, and CH2, the original learned microphone sound. It's a 50-50 split between those two sounds. When I roll the knob to the left, it gets me into blend mode. And here is where it gets confusing. Blend mode is the original pickup sound, so it's getting like the raw signal from my pickup, and blending that with the CH0, or the more focused sound. So if that was a little bit confusing to you, you're not alone. I actually had to reread the manual to make sure I got it right, because yeah, it's a little confusing. But I really like that blend mode where I can blend the original sound of the CS sensor with the sound of the tone dexter. I think it gets a pretty cool sound. And I think that's about it. I would love to know, what is your setup like? Because I know that we all use different things, and are trying to make this amplifying an acoustic instrument thing work. So please let me know in the comment section below what you use. And yeah, I even heard of people blending they have like a microphone and a pickup, and then they have a little mixer where they blend the two sounds, all that type of thing. So let me know what you're doing. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.